So you're going to get 2 challenges today mixed in with all this love bug talk that I'll be doing. The first is participate in a survey, a parent survey, that in 80% of it is identical to last year, because Mr. Pinkston had done some previous work and identified 3 weaknesses in our school. That's crazy when I'm trying to inspire parents to talk about 3 weaknesses, but my wife says I always put everything right out on the table. And I'm in attack mode to destroy those weaknesses. 2 of them I essentially believe I have. One of them I think I'm 35% of the way. But I want to hear from parents, and some of you are grandparents in the room. And so take the survey. The other 20%, we just paid off our buildings. Yeah, $10.5 million. And I'm telling you, I got gifts from single moms on scholarships who would send their little bitty sweetie pie widow's mite gifts in, and all the way up to people who gave millions to this school who never had a kid walk 1 foot, 1 step onto this campus. They just come to our events and our activities, and we invite leaders from the community in different venues and from different places to speak to our leadership academy or do our career days. And they just meet these kids and fall in love with them. And they walk the campus and sense God's presence. And so the first is take the survey. The second is re-enroll quickly. We went from 670 kids last year to right at 800 today. And I don't have room to do that again. We filled up a lot of grade levels, and I have a hair over 100, 106, 107 seats in the entire building. Well, we grew more than that this year, and we are way overmatched right now, overloaded in terms of interest in new families coming. And as I said in the car line, because I made a point of this to go around and tug on Mama's shirt sleeve and say re-enroll early, because it's just good. Where's that growth coming from? There are crazy things going on in the world, in the classrooms, and in schools around us, and charter schools around us, that are just, blowing parents' minds. It's driving the right kind of families to our school, people who have a heart for what this is, who we're about. I didn't probably need to mention that, but there you go. Today I'm going to, this morning at 7:30 a.m., 7:29 a.m., you received an email that looks like that at the top. And if you want to follow along, I'm going to use a little pointer here to kind of guide me through this talk very quickly. The first thing I'm going to do is go through this State of the School address, and we're talking about academic priorities, early college academy, and STEM. I'm going to do that very quickly, but if you're in elementary, we have a new math curriculum, and it will be by, I think, next year that 95% of our kids, maybe 100%, will be engaged in that curriculum. Our teachers are going through some phenomenal training. The way we do curriculum development, we spent 3 years on Bible teaching a cutting-edge biblical worldview curriculum that teaches the kids not just Bible stories, Bible verses, Christian principles, and salvation. That would be awesome. But beyond that, to be able to look at their world through a biblical lens, and it carries over into these master lessons in their other classes, in their other subject content areas during the day. Every teacher writes a master lesson once a month, 10 years, 100 lessons, 100 master lessons in every class and every grade level. We've been doing this for 4 years now, and it is really making a difference in the hearts of our kids. And so Math is next, and it's going to be amazing. We're doing a different kind of assessment that you would call that standardized testing. You know, we don't teach to the test. We don't take time away from curriculum like they do in the public system to teach a test and then to get a grade so that you can get funded. We just teach classes 180 days a year. Take the test, make sure they can fill in the little dots with a number 2 pencil, and most of the kids are taking those online nowadays. But it is amazing where our standardized tests are going, and we expect this math to build both math and science in our STEM emphasis. Also wanted to say that SAT and ACT test scores are rising. In fact, one of our seniors just scored a perfect score on the SAT. There is a great education going on here in the secondary grades. 1,600. National Merit Scholars, numerous years in a row. God is blessing us and helping us. The Early College Academy, we launched, not this year, but the previous year. A large number of the seniors graduated 18, 19 hours of college credit. In the first year we started that program. This year there'll be kids graduating with 30 to 36 hours of college credit at graduation. There are 60 college credits available. We're a small school. We're struggling a little bit with accessibility to those courses because we're not like some of us who teach in great public schools, Robert E. Lee. Number one percentage of parents who in our school are police officers and public school teachers. Did you know that? Interesting. Some are sitting here today. That makes me very proud. Can I say, so we're working on a master plan. I have the brains of the operation, Mrs. Elmer, Trudy Elmer in the secondary, looking at a creative way to do scheduling next year that will increase access to the numbers of those courses, across the high school. But apart from that, it's going great. Many of our teachers are involved in pursuing advanced degrees or advanced degrees on top of their advanced degrees. We're subsidizing that. We have a fund that has been set up to help teachers get their advanced degree and postgraduate work, and a lot of good is going there. The STEM program's just getting started, but Mrs. Sharm Davis, Dr. Davis, Mrs. Davis, Dr. Davis is meeting and training elementary teachers once a month and giving input on how to apply STEM across academic disciplines across the school. My librarian did a STEM activity. It was crazy, but it was amazing. This past week, and STEM clubs in elementary and secondary, and then we'll be bringing in some other things to add and enrich that. And all that said, I'm breaking my schedule, so I'm going on to the next thing. I wish I could say more. Servant leadership and campus spiritual life. I made a strategic decision to bring Susan Covarubia in with Mr. Madison and myself and others who work with the Leadership Academy. She's just doing a great job. She has some gifts and talents that show up in various different places of the school. But we have been out and about serving in the community. We've had Ben Carson, Dr. Ben Carson, twice in 1 year. The second time, he called us and wanted to speak to our kids. Spoke to the entire campus. It was rich, warm, meaningful conversations, interactive with the students, Q&A. Reverend Franklin Graham, in this room a week before the banquet, did a phenomenal talk, like a grandpa type tone talk, just advising these kids on their life and their walk with God. It was really stirring and challenging. And then, of course, he did an amazing job at our banquet. That's why we were able to finish the campaign. He just brought a word, and it touched a lot of hearts of our supporters and others, lots of guests who were there. Lots to be thankful there. The presence of the Lord is what makes the spiritual life of the school happen. And the presence of the Lord in the teachers is really fundamentally what I'm talking about. We have amazing families. It's never been better. I've 43 years of leading schools, looking at all of you. It's never been better for me than this, what I'm looking at right now. This is as good as it's ever been. God is attracting amazing families, and God is working in our families. We will have 3 Christ-centered, biblically based family and parenting trainings this spring. That came up in our survey this last year, a real hunger and thirst to just do our jobs well. This is what we heard parents saying. Miss Covarubia is going to be giving away some free tickets in a drawing. I don't know how that works, but she's going to do it. So, you know, we had 12 kids in the middle and high school give their lives to Jesus last week, just right over here as I'm standing. God just keeps capturing ground in these kids' hearts. If you walked up and down if you ever have a question about what's going on in our secondary program, you ask Miss Covarubia or Mr. Pinkston on any random day with no notice. You just show up and let us walk you up and down those halls and open those doors and let you feel the engagement, the seriousness of what's going on, and the tone of those teachers in your kids' lives. And if you're in elementary school, you're a little closer to your kids. You already know that. You know, we've served 12 nonprofits and 600 Operation Christmas Child boxes that went around the globe, and campus-wide serve days. And again, I'm running out of time. Number next, athletics and fine arts growth. Just to say quickly, well, the art department, the visual art department, is up for their 7th straight fine arts, visual arts state championship. To my knowledge, nobody's ever done that. We rule the visual arts. We're in the top 8 drama departments in TAPS, the organization where we do student activities. We are at state and competing in both choir and band. I don't know if you heard our band concert last spring, but you should take your whole family to that thing. It is amazing what's happening in that band. And Miss McAllister is a life trainer. She took her mom's place in leading our choirs, but it's very special what's going on there. We're expanding the arts because we're running out of room. We've got to have some additional offerings, and that's a whole nother story. Facilities and campus improvements. So, well, hey, just the new sign out in front, the kids did that, isn't it? It's crazy. Everybody in this school is working towards the better progress of the work of God and the better progress of the school in general. And that whole sign was raised by the kids during their color-thon last year. I hear them talking about having some big goal. I don't know if it's what we'll do, but some kids were talking about getting a bus or a shuttle and wrapping it. They're crazy ambitious. These kids are something. But we'll be making investments with the buildings paid off. That is like taking a heavy backpack off. And it is going to give us the ability to begin to invest in the arts, in athletics, and specifically in academics and academic departments. It's going to be a game changer. I do have a problem in that I have people officing in closets. I knocked out Mrs. Jacobs' offices. Did you notice her office disappeared and there's kids in there this year? I just knocked out all the walls over the summer, and And I don't have a squidge of room, so we're going to address that. There's some people smarter than me looking at that. And then all of that will lead, all of that report on the status of the school. I said a little more this morning, but Bobby, can you? Oh, yeah, it moves up right here. It leads to this. And that is, take the parent survey. Your voice moves this school more than you can know. First way, using those elementary at helpline at castlehills.school, secondary helpline, using those, I get every one of those, and it helps me see that we're taking care of problems, needs, or issues quickly. That is essential. That kind of input is transforming our customer service, our ability to deliver. And I don't mean to call you customers because this is family, but you understand what I'm talking about. I want to be better than Chick-fil-A. And then related to this, there will be some strategic questions on improving the school. It will also ask you how we're doing transparently. If there's a question there that says, how are we doing in communicating or responding to you, or our follow-up time, you're welcome to put Mr. Pinkston's name down and says, that boy needs to work on it, okay? I warmly invite any authentic, without humility, transparency, and authenticity, you don't have leadership. And so this is really a key factor. Listening well is the way you take an organization from one little step to the next. Take this survey, help us raise our game, and give input to the strategic plan. Well, you don't need to come up here quite yet, but I'm about to invite Mrs. Covarubia up here to talk about re-enrollment. And open house is coming up. We have people already enrolling since last November, but none of those are official till February 16th. They fill in the spaces after all of our families. It's always been that way. You have a $50 discount by getting that done by then. But open house still, I just tell you, one of the reasons we're having the success we're having is that the quality and the substance of the families who are here keeps raising over time. And that's because we largely don't grow by, other than some banners I put around town, almost all of our marketing is through parents. And most of our new enrollment, overwhelmingly, is through recommendations of parents. And in fact, we're raising the stakes, and we're going to give a $200 tuition credit to your first month's tuition when you return next year for any family that registers, puts your name in the slot where we ask who recommended or told you about our school. And that is a way for us to support. Tuition is going up. Normally it goes up $36 a month. To help families with multi-kids, our multi-child discount is going up, because I know that's heavy and challenging. The $9 that it's going up, all is going to instructional faculty and support staff. Every dime of it. Not to administration, to faculty and to support staff. Investing in these times to just make their days a little better. We're giving twice the raise we've ever given before, and it's needed and necessary. I know that because I'm the shepherd of the school and of those people. So open house, there's invite cards. There, you can forward an invitation. There is an invitation inside of your packet where you just click in the email that I sent you. I don't see many of you scrolling through yet, but you ought to look at that. And then your enrollment's in there too. You just click it, forward it. What else is there in there? There's some calendar highlights you need to know about, please show up for the chili cook-off. You would not believe the basketball we're playing, and it's going to be a fun family night for the whole school. We're going to have a celebration night, probably one Sunday evening in the first quarter of the year to celebrate our success in paying off the buildings, carnival games and rides and blow-up bouncers and fun stuff for the kids, and we're just going to have a celebration night. It'll all be free. Just an opportunity to celebrate what God's done. The volunteer opportunities, the Colorthon car line, being a PTF officer, I'm looking for about 7 or 8 people to just say, hey, I'm going to help take that organization to the next level. They got some great plans. And Booster Club, if your kids are in athletics, are looking for new officers next year. So in summary, take the parent survey. Re-enroll early. I want to keep the kids I've got. I'm more interested in the kids I've got than in new kids, as excited as I always am about that. And we are here to serve you. Yes, and there's a drawing coming up for tuition credit and for just attending this meeting and other things. Hey, thank you for being the best parents in South Texas, maybe the galaxy. And I'm not going anywhere. I'll be here if you need me. Thank you.
Well, hello. My name is Susan Covarubia. I serve as the Director of Admissions and Fine Arts Coordinator, and I'm going to talk with you just about some practical aspects of how do you enroll your child for next year. So online enrollment does open today. And we've made it as easy as possible. It's all online through your Fax Family Portal. One thing that's important is only one parent is designated as the enrollment responsible parent. And so if you log into your Fax Family Portal for families who live in the same household and you don't see your child's enrollment, then call your spouse and ask them to log on or give you their password to their family portal, and it should be in theirs. If it's not in either one of your portals, then you need to call me, and I'll figure out what Fax has done and get that ready. But it's one parent in a household is designated as the enrollment responsible. When you log into your Fax Family Portal, you're going to go to Family, the tab that says Family, and then below that, Enrollment, Re-enrollment. Now, there's also a tab that says Start a New Application. Please don't do that. You don't need a new application. If you do that, you're just going to pay us more money, and we're going to have to go and fix some things. So please do not create a new student application. Go to Family, go to Enrollment, Re-enrollment, and then you should see on the screen Start Enrollment, your child's name and their grade for next year. You click on Start Enrollment, and then just follow the instructions. It'll walk you right through that. If you are on if you're receiving any type of financial aid, that does not roll over each year, so you will need to reapply for that each year. And in order for us to consider that, you will need to have completed your student's enrollment before we'll look at your financial aid new application for the year. So if that's you, make sure you've done both of those. Our early enrollment begins today, and you have protected enrollment through February 16th. We're not going to schedule any interviews or accept any new students until after you have a chance to enroll your child. If you have children in 1st grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, or 9th grade, those are currently full classes that we anticipate will be full next year. You do not want to wait. You don't want to wait until February 16th. Get it enrolled as soon as possible.
Give you full security if you're not in those grades. I have 107.
That's correct.
We grew 120 kids last year, so I just want to emphasize every grade is sacred.
Yeah, so get that in. It's protected. You also have a discounted enrollment fee of $100 per student between now and February 16th. On February 17th, that will then be $150 per student. For high school students wanting to enroll in any of our advanced track or our early college academy, your enrollment is tied as well to that. So if you wait until March to enroll, your child may not have a spot in that early college academy. Even if they've been in early college academy before, students have to be enrolled for us to begin to do that. I already have, as he mentioned, I have lots of applications that were turned in on November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd when our application went live. So I'm just holding on to them. They're all complete, and I just need to schedule family interviews once the 16th hits. So again, I cannot emphasize enough, turn your enrollment in. We would love to have your children return. Now, when you go into enrollment, the enrollment contract has changed, and I know that you like to get through it as soon as possible and just scan, sign, submit, but I do want to strongly encourage you to make sure that you have read, I think you should read all the documents that you're signing, but in particular the enrollment contract. It is an embedded link in the email that you got so that you can open it and read it separately, but it's also in enrollment when you get there. One of the wording that changed for payment information is annual tuition is due June 1st of the upcoming school year. And then the other change is for any early withdrawals. We certainly don't want you to leave early, but if you do, we've had in the past a 2-month tuition penalty, and that now is going to say you're responsible for paying all tuition due for the month attended plus a penalty for early withdrawal that is equal to 20% of annual tuition. That goes into effect June 1st. So any withdrawals after June 1st will the enrollment contract will apply. So please make sure you know what you're signing. Tuition plans. As you go through, you will not have to select a tuition plan unless you pay all up front. At the beginning of the school year, we don't just automatically make that happen. Because if we pull out $10,000 and you're not expecting that, that might be a problem. So in that sense, you will have to call and set that up again. But for most of you, you will not need to select a tuition plan. Your current plan will roll over to the next school year, including the plan type, payment date, and your banking information. Now, you can make changes to that, and the only exception to that is if you made any changes to that plan throughout this school year, the updated one is not what rolls over. It's whatever you started with. So once you get through that and you get to log in and see all that payment once Mrs. Gilliland puts that together, if you want to make any changes, just call her. She's more than happy to help tweak the dates, however you need that to happen. And you can contact her in the finance office. I want to cover 3 frequently made mistakes that we see in enrollment and ask you very, very much not to make these mistakes, if at all possible. The first one, household one. When you log into enrollment, it's going to ask you for household one information. Household one refers to the mom and dad and children who live in the same household, same address. All right, it doesn't include someone who's not living in that household address. So please don't begin to add, stepmom or stepdad if they're not living in that same household. Parents who have separate custody, divorced, separated, things like that, for a parent who lives in a separate household, they will get their own email with their own request to complete their enrollment. They get to update their own information. You don't have to update that for them, okay? So they'll get a separate enrollment. Please don't start adding people in. And so just keep household one. They live in the same household. Household two is for someone who also has custody who lives in a separate household. And then student name. So if your son's name is John Brown, then you don't need to tell us that the preferred name is John. We already know that. That's their first name. Now, if John Brown goes by JB, then under preferred name, put JB. If you put John in preferred name and their first name is already John and that's what they go by, then when we start printing report cards, it says John Brown. And that's not their name, unless you want that to be, and that'd be weird. All right. We are so grateful. We hope that once you submit that enrollment, you can take a deep breath. Your child's spot is secure for next year. Go grab a cup of coffee and just look forward for the emails on what we're doing this summer. If you have a child going into a grade, I think that's don't hold me to this, but 3rd grade, 5th grade, coming into kinder and 7th grade, there are those immunizations that have to be submitted. Please just go ahead and know that that's coming. If you have the updated immunizations for going into that next grade, go ahead and upload those. Otherwise, just know that those have to be turned in to Ms. Rathmel before your child can start school next fall. At the very exit, you're going to find a parent meeting exit ticket. And what we're doing is we're going to provide a couple of seminars for helping to maintain healthy families. And churches used to do a lot of this and kind of don't do it as much, so we're going to step in and offer a couple of things. The very first one, we know tuition is going up. But how to budget for Christian education. I like Dave Ramsey. I'm a huge Dave Ramsey fan. My husband was a fan first, and I was a forced fan. But it's been really, really good, and there's some great practical tips that you can learn on how to budget well so that the priority is can be, Christian education if that's your priority and it's not getting sucked into something else. So on Monday, January 30th, Mrs. Gilliland is going to do a free seminar on how to do that, some practical tips. And so when you fill out your exit ticket today, it's going to ask you for your first name, your last name, your children's name, and then, would you like to attend the free seminar on January 30th? Or, no, I will not be able to attend. When you submit that, then I'm going to get all of your names, and then I'm going to do a drawing for the next 2. And we'll pick 4 families out of all the ones who come, and you will get 2 tickets to one of the upcoming other seminars where we're charging. We're going to do a Healthy Marriages and Family Relationships on February 17th from 12 to 2:30. It's $25 with lunch provided. And then we're going to do on Friday, April 21st. Yeah, we've got some great speakers coming for these, just lovely. And then Parenting Best Practices on Friday, April 21st from 8 to 10:30. That's $20. We'll provide breakfast. Mr. Pinkston and I are going to be doing that one together. That does not mean that we are expert parents, okay? It might mean that we went through and do all the things that, were hard, and we're going to just share with you. Here are some great tips. Hope that you'll be able to join us for some of those. And on the exit survey, you'll see that the open house flyers that I gave you, please share these. If your church or workplace has a bulletin board, just put it on up and invite some folks to come and join us.